Time to start our regular scheduled April meeting. Welcome to all the guests we happen to have here tonight and the press. Thank you. Calling the meeting to order. John, will you lead us in a word of prayer, please?
Absolutely. Y'all please pray with me. Dear Lord, we come to you once again seeking a little bit of your wisdom with regards to this organization and this city. Lord, we ask that the decisions we make are pleasing in your sight. In his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to item number 2, approval of the minutes from the February meeting, since we did not have a March meeting. That was part of everyone's packet. Anybody have any questions or changes they need to make or recommend making? If not, do I hear a motion that be approved as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. That would be unanimous.
Yeah.
All right, John, item number 3, divisional reports. This will be for February and March.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Because we're actually doing 2 months worth and they're fairly extensive, I'm just going to hit one main thing that we had here. We sort of renewed our essay competition that we did. It's probably been, what, Blake, 10 years ago? Something like that. But this is in partnership with Piedmont Municipal Power Agency, and the winner of this year was Jayuana Johnson, and the title of her survey is the title of her essay is "What is Public Power and Why is it Important to Our Community?" And I think she included it with your packet if you wanted to read it, but she did an excellent job. She's a senior at Lawrence District 55 and has been accepted into Clemson. So, and the award was $2,500 to be used for school expenses. So we actually made the announcement at the annual chamber dinner a couple of weeks ago. He's a very deserving student and very appreciative of us doing that. So just wanted to make an announcement. And if anybody has any questions about any of the other details in the report, please let me know.
All right, that brings us to item number 4, the public forum session, and we don't have anybody here from public that's not already on the agenda, so we will move on, Blake, to our financial statements. This would be for January and February.
Okay, we'll begin with January 31. Move over to page 6. We'll take a look at the profit and loss for January. Annual 134, 571. A little bit better than last year. 49, close to last year as well. Water had a loss of $72,555 and sewer loss of $241. So a total gain for the month of January, $885 to $824. Nothing unusual or sticks out about the profit and loss to me for January. Over on page 11 is our capital budget. Under budget, $35,000 through the month of January. Our capital assets. You can also see down at the bottom our CIP accounts for different construction accounts that are in progress. And not a lot of activity in January on those. Our O&M G&A totals, we were 2.7% under budget for January, $73,000. So real good on our budgets. I'll be glad to answer any questions about the January financials. And I did have Kayla include the December's just because there was one small entry from the preliminary, but didn't justify doing a whole presentation on the December. You'll hear from Gary on the year-end numbers.
Anybody have any questions on the checks over 1,000? Not, do I hear a motion, we accept the January financial statement as presented?
So moved.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
All right, February 29th. Also start on page 6. A couple things a little different in February than last year, so I want to point out a couple things. Overall gain for the month, $156,300. Electric, $38,762. If you look at last year in February, it was $450,000. We had a $500,000 grant received from the county funds last year for the substation, so that's why it looks like that. Also, a gain in gas of $132,569. Had a loss last year. That's when we were trying to offset the high expenses and absorb some of those costs. Kind of a weird season. Luckily, things fell off on the gas purchases last year, and we did see a decrease. That was a little high. Water, tracking along just about the same as last year, a loss of $22,074. And then sewer, a gain of $7,042. So water is still pretty normal. Our budget totals on page 11 is our capital account. Still in the budget, $90,000 through February on capital purchases, and also, a little bit of activity out at Hunter Park on the CIP accounts, but nothing major expenditures in the month of February. Our O&M G&A totals are on page 14. We were $220,000 over budget through February, 4.3%. I'm going to have Ashley reallocate. If you look at line item 6442, which is natural gas purchases, she's going to reallocate that so it's not an even amount throughout the year, because our gas purchases are obviously a lot more in January, February, and December than they are June and July. So once she reallocates that for March, I think we should be over budget $245,000 on that one line item, and over $220,000. So, in the grand scheme of things, I feel like we're still $25,000 under budget. I'll be glad to answer any questions about the February financial statements or checks every time.
Have any questions on the checks over 1,000 for the March financials? Do I hear a motion they be accepted as presented?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. That would be unanimous. All right, John, brings up item number 6, and Gary Bailey gets to tell us a little bit about what he found.
Let me just stand right here, is it okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, the good news is there was no findings, so this is kind of what you want to get. Just a reminder, when we're performing an audit, we're doing two things. One, we're issuing an opinion of the financial statements, and we are reviewing the internal controls over the commission. So the good news is, we take your trial balance, your ledgers, we vouch items. Ashley really does a good job, very organized. Everything we need, she's always got it and provided for us. So we issued an unmodified opinion. That's a clean opinion. That's the one that the commission wants to receive. And I think maybe we had one journal entry, which is really insignificant, nothing. I mean, we have some organizations, unfortunately, we're doing 30 journal entries. Why that's important to you is, as you're looking at the finances every month, you don't want me as the auditor to come in and make a significant amount of changes that completely change what you've been making decisions on throughout the year. So I just want to point out that she's doing a really good job, and you can rely on those finances that you're looking at every month. And then over the internal control processes, we're looking through to make sure that the commission has processes in place to mitigate fraud. Fraud can occur anywhere. The processes that you have in place is supposed to catch it, so it doesn't continue to occur over and over and over again. So we didn't have any findings or recommendations. I think you really have good processes in place. So we issued a management report stating that there was no findings within the commission. So what I gave you have the thick audit report, but what I gave you is a 5-year trend analysis. As I always think that's very helpful to kind of see. You're looking at a pre-COVID, COVID, and now post-COVID years to kind of see how the commission has done over the last 5 years from 19 to 23. And you know this, you get this every month in your meetings, but your driving force that's going to change your revenue significantly every year when you look over this 5 years is natural gas sales. Depending on the weather, colder or warmer. And then, and really one of the driving forces down below is sometimes the cost of that natural gas. But when you look at the revenue, you can see you were at 29.4 million, down about 1.7 or so. I'm sorry, 2.3, down 2.3. And all of that's just about natural gas. You see natural gas was 10.7 in 22, is 8.3 in 23. And when you look at that, your natural gas margins are roughly 42%. So losing out on $2 million of natural gas revenue basically takes away $1 million of operating profit from the organization. So that's a big hit. So when you're looking at your operating income, it dropped from 1.3 to negative 53. The biggest factor there was the lack of natural gas sales, losing those margins. But then overall, what you see when you're looking at the trend in 22 and 23 is what we all see personally, is the cost of everything has gone through the roof. The labor's gone up, products gone up, everything's gone up. And as you're looking through this second page here, it's really interesting because it shows you, I'll put it back to page 1, but if you look at page 2, you can see the margins of each of the divisions, electric, gas, water, and sewer. And you can look from 19 to 23, your margins have been declining, and they took the biggest hit since 2020 when inflation has gone through the roof. And, electric's a big one. You've had a lot of margin reduction on electric, which is your biggest revenue line. And so that's hurting your gross profits. And then the natural gas, it fluctuates so much. Just looking at the cost of natural gas, I think its low point was September of 20. Then it just went on a big spike all the way to about August of 22. Then the cost of natural gas started coming back down to about mid-23, and now it's kind of gone up a little bit more, and it's fluctuating, but not like it did September 20 to August of 22. The cost of natural gas went way up. So the reason I'm pointing that out is just you haven't been able, like most companies, you have not been able to, and you can't, increase prices at the rate in which inflation, the cost of product, I mean, they would all have your heads if you had to increase the prices the way your prices have increased. So I understand that, but it is something as commissioners, you have to constantly, when you're thinking about those price increases and you know that they've been going up, you gotta continue because your costs continue to go up. And so your overall expenses were down from 23 to 22, but it's simply because cost of natural gas. You didn't use as much natural gas. So buying that natural gas was down. But if you look down there at the bottom, you'll see utility purchases, salaries, benefits, depreciation, City of Lawrence fees. Those four items made up 86% of your total expenses last year. And you can see half of that is utility purchases, 50%. 26% is salary and benefits. Salary and benefits went up, as you know, you gave a 6.2% salary increase in 23, so that was a big jump in salary cost. But also, health insurance went up, retirement went up, and then there's also in there a $200,000 change in pension expense. As you remember, you're part of the South Carolina Retirement Pension, so it's $200,000 expense, but it's a non-cash expense. So you didn't really have to pay it out, but we had to adjust for that change in the pension that comes out of Columbia. You can see you've been consistent over the 4 years at those four categories is making up high 80s, 88, 86% of your total expenditures. So you ended up for the year still at a 1.9 million. The good thing one good thing about where we are in our economy is you can see your investment income was up about 4 times, because the interest rates were up and you have funds in the bank, you were able to capitalize. So you made almost $1 million in investment income versus $265,000 from the previous year. So that certainly helped offset some of the price increases that you're experiencing. And then on the third page, that is just your balance sheet for the 5 years. And the good news is, over that time period, you have been able to basically double cash in the bank, your reserves. So that's been very helpful to help offset future costs, all the development, all the things you have to pay up front as development comes in. So you have right at 260 days of cash on hand, just about the same as last year. But 5 years ago, that was only 168 days of cash on hand. So you really done a good job of increasing the cash on hand. Pretty much everything else is fairly consistent on your balance sheet. Some of your cash decreased last year, but you paid down $1.2 million of AP. So you went from $3 million down to 1.8 in accounts payable last year. Also, you paid down debt service on some of the loans. Just point out, next year you have about $1.144 million in debt service. That's principal and interest to think about. So that'll be a cost next year, cash flow. But overall, you still increased your net position from $38.5 million to $40.4. You got a positive unrestricted net position of about $12 million, which is great, considering that you got $10 million of a net pension liability that you didn't cause, but it's on your balance sheet, so that's hurting your unrestricted. So if you added that in there, you're really looking at about $21 million, $22 million of unrestricted net position, which is great. A lot of governmental entities, because of that net pension, have a bracket on the unrestricted piece. So you're doing very well. Overall, I mean, you still have a very strong, solid balance sheet, good amount of days of cash on hand. Your quick ratio is 6.5, which means for every dollar of current liability you have to pay, you've got $6.50 of assets to pay for it. So usually those in banking, they like a 2-to-1 ratio, and they love it. So you've got a 6.5-to-1 ratio. So that's a good ratio on basically cash availability into next year. So overall, you're facing what everyone's facing is cost of everything has just gone up, and you got to continue to, hopefully the prices won't continue to increase at a point that you can continue increasing your revenues to catch back up. Yes, sir. question for me. Any questions overall? I mean, again, it's still organizations, good financial strength, good controls, good processes.
Anybody have any questions?
That cash on hand, 258 days, is that pretty?
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, usually our recommendation to governmental entities is we would love for you to have anywhere from 90 to 180 days of cash on hand. A lot of that's because sometimes, like in a grant, if you were to get a grant, you might have to pay up front, get that. Plus, you typically put cash out before you get some of it back. So anywhere from 90 to 180 is, I think, is fantastic. So to have 258, that's a really good sign. Yeah.
Just for comparison, Gerald, all PMPA cities, we kind of submit our financial information to them, and we're right in the middle. They're about half the cities have a good bit more than us, and the other half less than us, so we're kind of right in the middle compared to our peers across the upstate.
Any other questions? As is standard, we will let Jeff read the booklet and come back next month and let us know if we have any issues
Put you to sleep at night.
before we vote on this. So,
I'll be here if you have anything.
Before Gary goes, though, I just want to commend Blake and Ashley. They were primarily responsible for the figures and putting all this together and working with Gary and his folks to do this. I just want to make sure they get recognition for doing it.
And it really does, your audit goes really well. You have some that don't go so well. This is not.
thank you. Appreciate you coming. All right. That takes us to item number 7, John, Pine Haven Towns Development.
Okay, I know we have Jake. I assume you're Todd.
I'm Todd.
Met you, but,
Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
I can stand and kind of introduce Todd. Todd and I got together last year, and I'm here because I'm from here, and I just thought I'd come and say a few words and warm him up and then wind him up and let him go. So I own a piece of property, if you know where the NHC is, and I'm sorry, am I loud enough? I cannot hear. This pollen is killing me.
You're good.
This is the project, and I'll walk up here and let you guys pass it around. Thank you, Brian. This is a little townhome project that we were trying to get out of the ground. If you know where the three-way stop is at Farley and Pine Haven, if you go right through, behind those row of houses on Farley, there's a perfect square, and it's about 7.8 acres. So we got started on this probably in September.
When you go to NHC, are y'all on the left before you get to NHC?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's been there forever. Yeah, it's not, well, it's under contract, and I'll also kind of walk this around, and I'll hold it. You can see the density of the project. And if I get long-winded, please tell me. I'm not trying to be. So anyway, long and the short of it is we brought this project and had it approved before the Planning Commission on November the 14th of this year. We got Blue Water Civil Engineering doing the project. This is a top-notch project, townhomes. We also have collaborated with City Council, with the mayor, because we wanted to bring a project to Lawrence that was going to be something that we were proud of. And ideally, with what we wanted to do, was have townhomes that had front-load garages. That was sort of frowned upon, and we had met with the mayor, so we accommodated him, and now there are no front-load garages. All the garages will be in the back. There will be an alley, and when you had to maneuver that, you lose some density. And when you lose density, you lose profitability. And that's just the way it goes. What we're asking for is a little help. The new policy, and I'm trying to be as factual as I can, the new policy with the CPW is that the developer is now responsible for a percentage of the utility cost. and it was something that was adopted. We didn't know it. We understand that's how it goes. This isn't a huge project, but it does affect whether we can move forward or not. The cost, I'll let Todd take it from here.
Okay.
Because this is your ball of wax.
Yep. My name's Todd Fusco. Thank you guys so much for listening to us. And Jake's done a great job of explaining it thus far. And brevity's not one of my strong suits, so I'm going to do my best to rein myself in. But we're at a crossroads with the project over the power. Jake said utilities in general, but it's customary when you develop a subdivision, townhome community, or whatever it might be, that developer pays for grading, storm drain, curb, gutter, water, and sewer. You never pay for the power install, and you never pay for the gas install. Well, that's what, and I'm not by the way, I'm not a seasoned developer. I spent over 40 years in the pipe business. I owned a pipe distributorship, and I retired at 60, and I become a developer. So I even sold to CPW CPW Lawrence. So I owned Atlantic Supply and Equipment in Simpsonville. So we sold water, sewer, and storm drain. Well, anyway, power's never customary. So when I put together, first off, when I put my performer together, a developer is selling padded lots to builders. Pretty much all of the custom builders are gone. These are all national builders that you pitch your product to. So the ordinances and all called for front-loaded garages and all like that, but it wasn't part of Mayor Sinn's vision. So I had to go back and recreate this project and sell it again at a higher cost, at a higher price point, because when you put in all those alleyways and all, that's $180,000 worth of asphalt, not counting all the additional grading work and storm drain work. So you're around $225,000 additional cost. It's not a huge project. It's only 53 lots, so you can see these per lot prices increase. It was said to me in one meeting, he said, Todd, your portion's only $71,000. You mean you can't afford $1,300 a lot? Well, we've been $1,300 and this and that. I mean, we've gotten to this point where it's not penciling out now. I know things change. Had somebody told me, though, I got an approval in November. I'd have known on November the 14th, had I known, I'd have been in Keith Wood's office on the 15th. And I mean, we're asking for help on this power, is what we're asking for. I understand that if you guys make an exception for me, it opens up a whole can of worms, possibly in the future. I think maybe your way out is, hey, he was approved prior to the new ordinance or whatever it's called. Jake, am I missing anything?
Yeah, I mean, you're really not missing anything, and I think in this situation, less is more. I mean, we're looking for some help, and that's what we're asking for. We had the plans were approved in November, and I know the policy got changed. When would that be, John? When's that? February. So, we're looking for help for the $70,000. Todd even mentioned, the fear is that the project doesn't get finished. I get that. That's the risk. But, you mentioned paying for it.
Oh, yeah.
And when we finish the project, maybe reimbursing him if, that way you got assurances that he's going to get it finished. Just looking for a workaround here because, we've spent a lot of money in due diligence. And then this is just, I would like to say our last hurdle. So
Yeah, and I understand the fear. I mean, you've got subdivisions down here now that were built years ago. All the infrastructure was put in, then the project was abandoned for one reason or the other. And that is a risk, and y'all don't want thousands of dollars worth of wire in a place that's not gonna be built. Greenville County, we have to offer up a surety bond to make sure that we finish the project. I'm used to surety bonds. I'm used to irrevocable letter of credit, which is basically a loan that you guys can execute if I were to bail on you. I'm used to a lot of things. I'm just not used to $70,000 worth of power. And had I known it, I would have gone through the whole planning commission thing a lot differently. I would have pushed it, because every one of these units is a rear-loaded garage. And that's part of, again, that's Mayor Sinn's vision. He wants, you know, there's a lot of things that he wants, and I was able to pull all of them off until we got to this power, and this is what's tripping me up.
So the reason you went from garages on the front was because the city says we're not going to approve it if you have garages on the front. And by having to put garages in the back, you've had to put a road back behind each one?
Yeah, alleyway, yes.
And what happens is you have to bring the number of units down, because now you got, you know, alleyways. So anyway,
So you've lost property in there too, the alleyway.
Yeah. Now, the ordinance that's in place doesn't call for rear-loaded product in alleys. It's what he wanted. So we had several meetings with him to make sure that we gave him a product that he wanted prior to ever going to the planning commission and city council. So we gave him everything that he wanted, and that's why it went through so on one reading. So.
yeah. And we just, like I said, we just wanted a product that this town can be proud of. And, you know, they're good looking. And Lennar is a great builder too. So.
Todd, what's the price point for these townhouses?
Lennar's indicated to me that it's going to be a $300,000 in that range, 2,000 square feet.
300,000 for 53 units? Yeah. You build 53 per unit, but it's 53.
Yes. That was another thing. The mayor seems to think that the town's ready for a really nice project, and it may very well be. My problem is when I'm stepping out on a limb and I'm forcing my buyers, in this case Lennar, to join in with me, because there's no historical data that bears this out. We're stepping out on faith. And the well's dry. I mean, that's all I can say.
We're familiar with that. Like I say, our costs since COVID have gone up, quadrupled. And that's why this policy is in place, because, you know, for electric power, it'd take us 20 plus years, 25 years to recoup just putting everything in. So that's why we had to put in this policy, just because the price of transformers and whatnot is just quadrupled. So that's why the policy is in place. Anybody have any questions?
How many units will be in there?
53.
53?
Yes, sir.
Y'all going all the way with these other old apartments down?
Yes, sir.
What I can tell you is that we will discuss it. If there's something we can do, we'll get back to you. If there's not, then we'll let you know that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair.
And that's all we can do at this point.
Will that be gas heat or electric heat?
Gas.
Yes.
One thing, Parker, that I'd mention is just, you know, the timing that it did get in, and that does offer, I mean, just like Todd said, we understand that you do it for us, and other people might say, well, you need to do it for them too. I don't know how many had gotten approved with the planning commission before the policy was instated. But I would hope that that would be some consideration, and also the two, you know, when he's talking about the revocable line of credit, and also, you know, okay, they'll take the cost, they'll do it when the project is finished. Could he get reimbursed for that part of it? So there's 3 different ways to kind of skin it, and there's probably a million different ways to do it, but those are the 3 that came to mind, and we won't take any more of your time.
Well, why does it matter? I mean, is the garage on the front and back? I mean,
It's aesthetics. I mean, it's,
It really doesn't matter. It's an easier sell for me for the garage to be on the front. It lowers development cost, and it's cheaper for the builder to build.
yeah.
So this whole garage on the back that's what started all of this. And I would prefer not to have it on the back if I had my druthers.
Yeah. So that's it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right. John, it brings us to item number 8 with Brian.
I'm gonna start over here with Mr. Abercrombie. He can look at these and pass them around. I appreciate you allowing me to be here tonight, this afternoon. You know, the Y and CPW has had a long-time partnership. It's been a great partnership. We've been able to provide a lot of programs, a lot of services to persons in our service area that you provide. And, you know, the Y is for all of it. A lot of you are members of the Y. A lot of you are members, and some are members and visit regularly. So we want all of you to come to the Y. We got Blake back today. He just told me that. He confessed this morning. He's back. But the Y started, and some of you may know this, in the mid to early 60s on Home Street. It was part of Lawrence Mill, old recreation center. I think they actually started over there after the decision to build Anderson Drive was made by the volunteers at that time, and the funding sources. And at Home Street, some of you may be familiar with it. I think it had a gymnasium and 2 rooms. And look what we have now. We have a great complex, and we're adding on to that complex. But, you know, at our Y, we strive to meet the needs of the communities we serve, and we're very intentional in doing that. We evaluate the needs, we evaluate the critical needs, really, is what we like to address. The Y, as you may have grown up in, that's not the same Y we have nowadays. We're not just a sports or swim and gym. We're health, education, and wellness. That's really what we are. We're offering Parkinson's programs, cancer programs, arthritis programs, and all these are evidence-based. And we're proud of that. We are probably serving more children than any other nonprofit besides our schools. And we are one of the largest nonprofits besides the school and the hospital. Between our programs, we're serving 450 unduplicated persons annually just in our infant to 3-year-old programs, our after-school programs, our day camp programs, and that's just in Lawrence that we are serving that many. I will tell you this, because a lot of things have changed since last time I've been here. We're now the Lakeland's Y, but we are the Lawrence Y. You ride by here, there's no different. This is the Lawrence Y. You ride by Greenwood. But we are proud that in the Y world, you separate by zip code. We serve 23 zip codes. Our service area is Enoree to Trenton. That's our service area. And some of y'all know I grew up in Lanford, so my colleague in Spartanburg said, I'm never coming to Enoree. We're not coming that far down. You can have zip code 29335. And I said, I'll take it.
we may never go either, but it's home. So we're proud of that. But, you know, in saying that, we have a lot of partners in all of our communities, but the funds that we raise in Lawrence stay in Lawrence. The funds in Greenwood, Abbeville, there's opportunities that may arise soon to go to Saluda as well. But what I'm proud of is in 2009, Dr. Ed Taylor and Dr. Billy Strickland asked us to manage a child development program for infant to 3-year-olds. Our Y in Lawrence was the first YMCA to do so in this state. Now, some people, my colleagues, said I was crazy to even try to do it, but I knew I had the school district there to support the effort and provide some resources to help us have some initial investment so we could do it. But they wanted us to provide a opportunity that was safe and quality and affordable. And we have. I'm proud to say we have we've secured 5 state licenses since 2009. We've satisfied all the requirements with the state for those. The one I'm most proud of is our temporary license. During the pandemic, we never stopped. We didn't close. Y'all didn't close either, but we never closed. And everyone that had to go to work was an essential employee to us. It wasn't just health care. If you had to go to work, we'd keep your child. And some of you were displaced during that because our gymnasium was set up different. We had to put children in pockets and care for them, and while still maintaining and meeting the needs of a state license. I'm passing these pictures around because on February 26th, we broke ground. And when you see these pictures, we've made a lot of progress breaking ground since February 26th. And that's not even showing you today's pictures where they put in curbing along that new drive area. We made a decision to meet this 12-year dream. Volunteer board, so the Y, some of you have served on board, it's volunteer-led. They have one responsibility, that's me. And for 12 years, we've wanted a new child development center. It has taken us that long to get to this point. We cannot grow anymore. We're at capacity at the church. There's a waiting list till September 24. So what happened is when we raised, my board decided you get 50% of the funding with start construction. Well, we raised 63.7% of and the total cost is $2,348,000, the total cost of that facility, which is 9,800 square feet. It can house 99 students to 24 months and younger in it. And I say that because state regulations change when you get over 99 2-year-old and unders. But I can tell you, you know, just from listening to the presentation here, Lawrence is growing. We are a nonprofit providing this service. We're at capacity. The for-profits are at capacity. We're going to have a hard time taking care of children of parents that need to work. Our goal at the Y is to continue to make it affordable. If we do not, I mean, we can charge whatever we want. Gary Bailey, he's our auditor too, and I love it hearing when he says the same things to y'all that he says to us. Hey, good, unqualified, and your staff are doing what they're supposed to do with the checks and balances. That's the best thing you ever hear from Gary, and that you have days of cash on hand. And I'll tell you, days of cash on hand has gotten a lot better because of your financial man over here. Blake put a very strict goal out there for me, and we took care of that goal in 2 years, and he gave me 5 to do it. So, but we've been very fortunate, our resources and our membership. But we raised this money, one, from the county. Lawrence County provided us money. The state of South Carolina provided us money. Some of our corporate partners and our foundation partners. And I'm here to let you know, recently, y'all were very generous to us. We made 2 payments to you recently. I hand-delivered them because probably the person that works with you was very like, Brian, here's an invoice, get it over here and pay it. And but we paid $23,800 and another $7,300. That's for our utilities, our infrastructure, those type of things for this. But I'm gonna tell you, we have a goal. We haven't raised all the money. We have a goal. My goal is to raise another $500,000 by the end of the year. And I'm here tonight. I didn't like hearing the first part of his conversation, telling you how things wasn't, and I hate picking on him, but I don't like coming when people are all asking, but I really want you to consider how could you help the Y and the need that our community needs. We're going to build it. We're not backing up now, but to keep it affordable, I have to meet this goal by the end of the year. I can tell you, some of you have been around the Y a long time. With Brian Harlan's leadership, we don't like to owe money. Jeff was one time our go-to, and he knows we don't want to owe money. And right now, we have the funds to take care of 63.7% of it. We will meet the needs. We will meet our goal. I'm asking some of our partners to consider a $100,000 donation. But we are appreciative of any donations. And if you can't, you're a partner anyway. We provide opportunities for your employees to come and take advantage and be healthier when they're on the job. A lot of them do, and we're grateful for that. There's many different ways to partner. But I am here just wanted to give you an update, let you know what your Y is really doing, how we are serving, and who we are serving. In Lawrence alone, we are in 8 schools with 10 programs. 8 of the programs are free through a grant partnership with the school district. 2 are fee-based. They're at capacity. Where our Main Street Lawrence, the one that will be relocating from the church over to the new center, it's at capacity. Our Lawrence Elementary site is at capacity. But there is the need. Y'all know more than I do how many homes are going to be built here because of all the requests that comes before you for your assistance and guidance. But I appreciate you letting me come tonight, each of you, John and Blake, for getting me on the agenda. And I am smart enough to know a lot of you are Clemson fans, so I didn't wear my Carolina shirt that I had on today when I wore it on the plane to ride back from Cleveland, but I did not wear it. But I did give John a pin. You know, I'm proud of our partnership, and you know, Y is not successful unless it has good partners and funding sources. So.
What's your completion date for this project?
Well, right now we're ahead of schedule, which is unusual when you're starting, but our completion date is December. We've tried to tell our current partner where we're housed that I do have until August, but our goal would be to make that transition during Christmas break. Hopefully we can achieve that, but we do have a little leeway in there. But if we don't make the break then, we're going to have to wait till probably May, because it's hard to disrupt parents' schedules. Christmas time would be the best time for me to stop a child development center and move it. So that's our goal. But, I will tell you this on the groundbreaking day, and it wasn't planned by me or our staff. They had already moved some dirt. Usually you have a fake pile of dirt out there and you stick some shovels in. We had already leveled some ground. They had already moved it. I drive up at 7 o'clock that morning, and the commission trucks are there, already moving some power poles and redoing some lines, and everybody thought I had something to do with that. I did not. I did kind of tell some of them, yeah, you know, I got that much power down there. I asked, but it was really good. They actually stopped for 20 minutes to give us time to say our few words. And it was great. It was a great day. But when you have a groundbreaking like we've had and made this much progress, please ride by. We get daily, we use Prescott and Fouché as our general contractor. Prescott is the executive in charge of our project. Abe Crow is the site manager. We get daily pictures from the drone and on site, and that's how I can provide these to our partners and to my volunteer board. They get to see the pictures every day too, and it's really exciting. We haven't had a project on Anderson Drive in a long time, other than one that people wasn't very happy with, but back for a while back. It saved us a lot of money, or we might not be in the shape we are now. So sometimes you got to make tough decisions. But I'll take any questions.
What cost of the building?
$2,348,000. That's turnkey. That's the whole, everything that you see that's everything, except for our playground. But we already have some new equipment that we will be moving. We got some grants from the state for some playground equipment, and
New Prospect, they shutting their daycare down, I think.
it was very unfortunate timing. Right after we break ground, they make that announcement. I did reach out to them because even when you're at full capacity, we couldn't take a lot of those children. I think we were able to take 8 of them into our after-school programs. And I'll be honest with you, I was hoping they'd let us come help manage that till December. And then we could have taken a few more to help out, because we certainly didn't want to displace. So, to your question, Mr. Abercrombie, by the time this one's finished, we probably need to be starting number 2, to be honest with you.
Another building.
We need to be on number 2 by the time this one's complete, if we want to have the continued growth that's coming to Lawrence and meet the needs of the parents at work. That's our goal is.
Do y'all have them like, you drop them off at 7 o'clock and pick them up at 5?
Yes, sir. Yep, that's what this is. This is full day. This is year-round full day.
What is one child cost?
Well, I can tell you right now, an infant is $145 a week. And that is compared to 15 miles up the road in Fountain Inn and Simpsonville, theirs is about $230. So we're keeping our prices low, and that's for members. And I'll be honest with you, child development centers are not, they generate a lot of revenue, but they cost you a lot of money. The Y does not make a lot of money off this or have net revenue. Where we do have some net is in when they join, because a lot of parents will join, and I think a lot more will join with it being right beside the Y, because those that get off at 5 o'clock, they have time to come in there, address whatever needs they have inside of the Y before they pick their children up. So that's our goal. We have plenty of land to build more, but right now we need to get this one up and show that we can provide the quality and safe atmosphere in a new facility. So, but our waiting list has grown since. When you hear something new, people are already calling, wanting in, and it's tough when you have to tell them you don't have any place. But I appreciate it. Any consideration you can give. Like I say, we're proud partners with you, and we're grateful.
All right, well, we appreciate it.
If you have questions, just reach out to me.
I really thought you was coming and asking money to help pay that big bonus to Coach Staley.
Well, next month, she did make a few extra dollars this week. But I tell you, I know you're a Gamecock, so we got something to be proud of there.
Would you believe I was pulling for Clemson to win the national championship in men's basketball?
That is very hard to believe, but so I have one orange shirt in my closet. It does not have a paw on it, but sometimes I have to put it on. So, but it does not. I ask everybody else, it's Tennessee orange, but sometimes I have to wear it. But we're proud of all of them. I was disappointed they didn't make it, at least to the Final Four. But if I can answer any more questions, I'll be glad to.
We'll take it under advisement and be back in touch with you.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'll probably just wait till y'all go in executive, and I'll excuse myself.
All right, John, item number 9, the FOIA policy.
Okay, if y'all recall, back in 2017, 7 years ago, we kind of formalized our FOIA policy when it comes to folks requesting information from us. And as you might expect, the prices of things have changed quite a bit in 7 years. So basically, all we're asking is to update the prices that we charge people that request information from us. I think it was in your packet. Primarily, the only changes are on page 2. And we have stricken the old rate, and the suggested new rate is highlighted in yellow. But everything else basically follows the state law regarding FOIA request And we have latitude in that law to charge whatever the going rates are for these services that we do.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Something we need to vote on?
And by the way, we are seeing more and more of these, so
Something we need to vote on?
yes, such as a change in policy.
All right. Do I hear a motion, we accept the changes to our FOIA policy as presented?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. That's going to be unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, that's all I have for
Okay.
open session.
All right, that brings us to item number 10, executive session. I hear we have a motion to go in executive session, return to public session as the chair.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. That's going to be unanimous also. Thank you.
They figure you can charge about whatever you want to charge.